already given you a bit of a background into the survey. I mean, it's run earlier this year. I'm specifically directed towards professionals working in IoT security. As you can see, the majority of those respondents coming from verticals such as industrial, manufacturing, financial services, automotive, healthcare, transport, and logistics. Not surprisingly, from those types of industries that actually tend to be quite heavily regulated. So, of course, I think some strong opinions going to come out from that survey. In terms of the geographical reach, quite a broad spread in terms of survey respondents. As per usual, typically you see quite a few from North America, Europe, but yes, a reasonable spread at least. If we move to the next slide, please, John. Of course, we wanted to be quite specific about cellular IoT in this particular survey. It's a very specialized topic. So, from the survey cohort perspective, all of them involved some way or another within cellular IoT operations, either having an active deployment or planning an active deployment. Out of interest, we also wanted to know, in terms of the type of personas taking part in the survey, what level of responsibility do they have within three particular areas: so asset management and visibility, IoT cybersecurity, threat detection and mitigation, as well as IoT compliance. So I'm not going to dwell too much on those results, but that's just to give you an idea of the survey personas. So 41 survey respondents in total took part. But let's dive into really what the meat of the survey is all about. It's worth mentioning, as we move to the next slide, please, John, that over the coming weeks, we'll also be producing a white paper, publishing a white paper that will go into a lot more detail in terms of the survey findings and some of the trends that we're seeing surrounding that. I think what's important here is that we drag some key points out of the survey with a view to really delving into that as part of the panel discussion. So, really some of the key points to drive home. So what is most effective in the context of maintaining a strong security implementation for IoT? So 37% of respondents are saying asset visibility and monitoring, above all other areas of potential security approaches. And in terms of the overall management side of things, when you look at so the percentage points there on the right-hand side of that chart are the sum of extremely and very important factors. So we can see there, so the ongoing observation analysis of IoT systems, 74%, and monitoring for unauthorized or unintended use of IoT devices. The collection and analysis of operational data, seeing the two highest proportional rates there in terms of importance among respondents. So I think it's quite clear we can infer, visibility of the traffic, seeing what devices are doing is absolutely paramount to a strong security posture. We'll see more of that in a moment if we proceed to the next slide. But I think another key point to mention, which we'll be delving into a bit more in the panel, is the issue of regulation and compliance. And this is certainly something that's coming more and more to the fore. It's actually one of the reasons why we've done a specific dedicated survey towards this in this year. And we can see there, in terms of the IoT security professionals, overwhelmingly the ability to demonstrate compliance with regulations is really of very high importance to them. And in terms of how that's impacted their organization, I think we can see, 56% of the survey cohort has had their organizations invest more in cybersecurity measures, 46% have invested more in data privacy measures, and 37% have invested in more business continuity measures. So the issue of regulation is rising, and it's clear that there is an importance to achieve asset visibility. But, what are perhaps some of the challenges that enterprises are seeing? If we move to the next slide, please, John. So we can see there, again, I've mentioned visibility. I'll probably keep talking about it across my presentation, but 44%, as in the highest response rate, saying the main challenge for them for IoT security, remember this is in the context of cellular IoT, is gaining visibility into all connected assets. And really quite tellingly, I think the most important, or perhaps the most interesting element of this chart is that only 7%, so that they saw no challenges at all with IoT security. So, only 7% of these enterprises are very confident in their own security posture, not seeing any challenges whatsoever. And of course, the cellular network itself is often positioned as a highly secure entity, and indeed it is. But that's not to say that there are no weaknesses within the network, as we well know when we look at roaming, for example, interconnect. So we thought it was interesting. What is the level of trust you place in your mobile network operator to protect your assets? Only 20% of IoT security professionals say that they fully trust the IoT network provider to protect their network. 41% say that the operations are entirely their own responsibility and they don't trust anyone else to protect them. So you can see there how the issue of asset visibility and managing the security is of critical importance for enterprises, and it's of critical importance for them to have control over that solution as part of a holistic view of security. And I'm just going to close out my presentation with the next slide here. The first one is a survey result on the left. Would it enhance your view of a service provider, a mobile network operator, if they offered you tooling for cybersecurity, threat monitoring, threat prevention, compliance reporting? 63% saying it would enhance my view of that provider. I thought it would be a nice juxtaposition here. I mean, as I mentioned at the beginning, we looked very closely into various offerings of providers across the ecosystem. So, for example, we just closed out a deep analysis of connectivity management platforms across roughly 30 of the leading providers on the market. And when we look at the tooling that's provided within those platforms in the context of security, threat mitigation, compliance reporting, and so on, there's only 20% of those platforms that are offering a complete solution. Most platforms will just deal with data overage prevention, something like that, but nothing deeper that's really related particularly to IoT security. There's some who are slightly on the way, but I think it's quite telling that there's certainly, perhaps let's say a gap in the market between what enterprises need and what service providers are offering. And